isa-isahin po natin, i-dissect po natin. The question now is, can the primary intent of the Constitution, which is to prohibit political dynasties, can it be implemented immediately? I believe po, it can be. And I would like to cite with you now the legal grounds. There are at least two legal grounds po, no? Based on the decisions of the Supreme Court in a number of cases. And the first legal ground is this. The Supreme Court has established as one of the legal principles in constitutional construction po, which means in the interpretation of the Constitution, established na po yan in so many cases po, that in the interpretation of the Constitution, the plain and ordinary meaning of the words used in the Constitution must prevail. What does it mean? Ano pong ibig sabihin ng political dynasty in the plain and ordinary meaning of the term? Let me cite with you po the exact reading of exact decision of the Supreme Court. In Francisco versus House of Representatives, 2003 case, citing so many other cases in the 1960s and 1970s, ito po sinabi ng Supreme Court, whenever possible, the words used in the Constitution must be given their plain and ordinary meaning, except when technical terms are employed, in which case the significance thus attached to them prevails. As the Constitution is not primarily a lawyer's document, ang ibig sabihin po, since the Constitution is not primarily a lawyer's document, its language, as much as possible, should be understood in the layman's term. So ibig sabihin po, what is our understanding of the term political dynasties? I went using that plain and ordinary meaning rule by the Constitution, issued by the Supreme Court, in interpreting our Constitution. I went into the plain and ordinary meaning of the term political dynasties. Tinignan po yung mga legal dictionaries, Oxford Dictionary, Black's Law Dictionary, including po yung Layman's Dictionary, yung Merriam-Webster. And the definition of the plain and ordinary meaning of the term political dynasty, ito po, no? Let me read to you. Black's Law Dictionary defines dynasty as a succession of rulers from the same family. Succession of rulers po from the same family. Ang ibig sabihin, pag graduate ka yung mayor, 3 terms, yung congressman, 3 terms, pinasa niya sa asawa niya, dynasty ba yan? Pasok po. Pag pinasa niya sa anak niya, pasok po. Doon sa definition po ng legal dictionary. Ang sa Merriam-Webster definition naman, a power group of or family that maintains its position for a considerable period of time. So medyo vague po ng konti. But in one Supreme Court case po, si Justice Antonio Carpio explained and defined the meaning of political dynasties. And he said, it is a phenomenon that concentrates political power. The word po, operative, is concentrates. Concentrates political power and public resources within the control of a few families whose members alternately hold elective offices, deftly skirting term limits. So there is a legal definition in our jurisprudence po, and that definition was provided by Justice Antonio Carpio. Now, what is the relevance of that po? No? I also went into Wikipedia. Ano pang ibig sabihin nila ng political dynasty? O mas klaro po, no? Ano pong ibig sabihin nito? This is the plain and ordinary meaning of the term political dynasty. At ang sinasabi po ng Supreme Court in so many cases, in the interpretation of the Constitution, the plain and ordinary meaning rule should apply, because the Constitution is not primarily a lawyer's document. It is a people's document. It is the people who adopted and ratified the Constitution. But I went further po. I went into the records, the deliberations of the 1986 Constitutional Commission. I wanted to find out ano ba yung understanding ng framers ng Constitution ng term political dynasties. Alam niyo po, kung anong understanding natin ng political dynasties ngayon, ganoon din po understanding nila yung writers and framers ng Constitution. And it was very clear doon po sa arguments and debates po nila. In fact, si Jose Noliedo, he clarified. Halimbawa, pag governor ka, clarified, no? Very clear, pag governor ka, hindi ka na pwedeng tumakbo, pinasa mo sa South, is that a dynasty? He said that on record, it is a dynasty. And no one argued against him. No one rebutted him from the floor. Ang ibig sabihin po, even the framers of the Constitution, when they were discussing whether to include that provision in the Constitution, they had the same understanding as we do now. Now my question is, using the plain and ordinary meaning rule, which is a legal principle in the interpretation of the Constitution, why can't the prohibition against political dynasties be implemented immediately, at least against those who are clear in obvious cases of political dynasties? When I say clear po, halimbawa, pinasa mo sa anak, sa asawa mo, pinasa mo sa anak mo, pinasa mo sa kapatid mo. Why clear? May additional arguments po tayo doon. But let me proceed. Can you follow in the meantime? Can you follow?